Hello? 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 Can anyone hear me? Hello? Microphone. All right. Oh, hey, people are here. You can hear me? Hey, people showed up. Yay. Hello, Chris P. How are you? We'll officially start in a few minutes. I want to give everyone a chance to get here. Wow, this camera quality is terrible. I need a better camera. Yeah, Adriana, you're here. I see you. Yay, I'm glad you're doing well, Chris. Light? No light. Oh, I am so sorry. I didn't realize they won't just let you chat anonymously. That sucks. Terrible. Terrible. That's okay. I don't. That's fine, Mr. Blue Sky. I trust you. Ugh, they made you make a channel. I'm not. I'm not taking attendance or anything. So yeah. If you're signing in on an account that doesn't have your real name, that's fine. So, this is Humanities. Humanities 1. But you're welcome to sit in if you're in my philosophy of religion class. Okay. Yes, the cat is doing so much better. The cat is much improved. Turned out to be just probably something he ate, more than likely, but we were worried. So 12:52, 12:50. Why do all my clocks say something different? Oh, thank you. That was great. Very sweet of you to be thinking of our little monster. Yeah, cat's feeling much better. Well, that cat has he's got prescription food anyway. Um, so Gwen's great. The humanities class is kind of like a history class, but not quite because I don't care about dates and names. It's more of trying to get a unified look at religion, philosophy, politics, history, blah blah blah, that kind of literature, art, that kind of stuff, and see how it all ties together. Um, and uh, and we're going to be doing that. Humanities 1 is one of those classes that basically everyone takes, and I realize it's the kind of thing that you do because you're required and not because you love it, but I try to make it interesting. Everyone say hello to the person in my philosophy of religion class. Oh, but yeah, the cat has a prescription food anyway, so he has a very special diet, and he apparently got into something he wasn't supposed to eat. Um, and so that only we were worried about what kind of problems that could cause. Kitty. This is not the cat that got into the the food. He'll eat anything, won't he? Yes, he will. Yes, he will. Oh, Gwen Skate. So, okay, this is where it gets confusing. Um, uh, there are humanities classes that are in the humanities department and count towards your humanities class requirement for the college. And Intro to Philosophy of Religion is a humanities class in that regard. Humanities, there is just a class called Humanities, which is kind of like an overview. Uh, um, it's kind of like it's kind of like you can take an American history class, a class just called American History, but then you can also, I mean, not here, but presumably somewhere, you can also take classes like 20th century American history or the Old West or what have you. So yeah, yeah. So Intro to Philosophy of Religion is a humanities class, but this is just humanities, right? Stylish. I'm trying to drink water like a grown up who doesn't want to die. Hey, Galia, Delia, something like that. Okay, take care. Bye. Oh, hey, well, no, Gwen's probably gone. Next time, I'll email her later. Galia, yay. Okay, rock and roll. I think this works. If anyone is not like comfortable with YouTube, I can try something else. I can try a Discord channel. Um, I don't know. I can try something else, but I feel like this is working out pretty well. I mean, this will be saved along with the chat. So, okay. I figured YouTube would also be easier than Zoom because Zoom is buggy and crashes a lot. And I don't know. It's just more complex. Oh, Gwen's. Yeah. Do you have the book for Intro to Philosophy of Religion? Yeah. You cannot. Okay. I've had a number of people email me and ask and say they don't have the book. So, but one person, I was fooled. One person asked about the book, and I said, "Do you have it?" And he said, "Yes, I have it." And I got fooled into thinking everyone must have it. I think he was the only one. I'm going to see about scanning the readings in anyway. But Zarek, what was your question? So anyway, Gwen, that's all I needed to know. I'm going to try and scan some of the readings, maybe all of them. We'll see. Good luck. Have fun. Almost time to start. Alan. Okay. Hey, Alan. Bye. So, Eric, if this is going to be saying, oh yeah, yeah, it's always archived on my YouTube channel, which you can subscribe to, like and subscribe. I feel like a real YouTuber, right? I'm not. Um, just for your reference, I am not a real YouTuber. I am just a weirdo with a camera and a cat asleep in my lap. Um, so there's that. By my clock, it's almost time, and we got 17 people here. I feel like we're just about ready to start. 18 people. That's awesome. Um, uh, you don't use YouTube. Yeah, I'm kind of a YouTube addict. Um, I will just watch YouTube all evening rather than watching television. Uh, I like to watch people falling down So I watch a lot of fail videos. We lost people. What happened? No, come back. Anyway. Oh yeah. No, and I get that. I never did either until I started making content for my classes. So, oh no, you can watch the videos I've already made if you can't be here for the live lectures. And the live lectures will be saved, Riri. The live lectures will be saved so you can watch them later if you can't attend at the time. Um, so yeah, no, you won't need a textbook. I have posted all the readings in the units for the class. So yeah, I'm trying to make this class as flexible as possible. And yes, if I don't have a link uh, to the humanities playlist, it's on my channel, and I will post the link in an announcement. So Riri, you're good. Do not fear. If you can't be here for the live uh, situation, you can always just watch the stuff later. The live situation is for you so that you can interact with me via the chat and your fellow classmates. So, okay, I've got 1 o'clock um, by my clock. Okay. Yeah, the textbook is kind of pricey. Um, and I'll admit the readings I posted are from an earlier edition of the textbook. So they may be a little stripped down and shorter than what you would, the comparable material in the textbook. That's mainly because I could not find a way to get a copy of the most recent edition of the textbook. And I was doing everything in my power to prevent you from paying for the textbook. Um, so anyway, so hi everyone, welcome. And I do that by the way with regard to the textbook because, and this is something I will say frequently and very loudly. The bookstore is full of liars and thieves who will try to take your money and harm you. Do not trust the bookstore. And I have done everything in my power to make all of my classes textbook free. Um, Posted videos online. There's still a textbook for my intro religion class, but as soon as I get all that stuff scanned, there won't be. Hey, Zoe. Yeah, so uh, anyway, welcome to Humanities. Humanities 1. This is a weird format. Um, this is new for me doing this online live. Hi, Sarah. Um, This is you can interact with me or with your fellow classmates in the chat. Keep it congenial, of course. And as I was telling Riri 0906, whoever the hell that is, um, who knows, earlier, um, uh, Michaela, hi. Yeah, that's fine, Michaela. You can bug out whenever you need to. I mean, that would be my policy in person too, but as I was telling someone earlier, these videos will be saved along with the stuff I've pre-recorded, so that you can. Riley, oh Riley, yeah, okay, I know you. I saw your name in the roster. These videos will be saved so that you can watch them later if you need to. So this class is about maximum flexibility for you in terms of being able to attend and interact with the material. On your schedule, but still have the opportunity to interact with me. So I'm trying to make this work for you as best as possible. So I've got a little spiel I do about the humanities. I'm going to go into that in a second. And then I'm going to do a little bit of talking about prehistory. I don't have my whiteboard here, so I feel as if I've lost an arm, but that's okay. Maybe I'll get a tiny little one that I can write on for next time. But anyway, um, I before I dive into my material, I want to give you guys an opportunity. Do you have any questions about the Blackboard site, about my grading policies, about the content? Anything you want to ask me, or just say to your fellow students? Anything you'd like to throw out there? This is a great opportunity. Is the grading clear? I could expand on that. Da, na, 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 na. I'm weird in person. I'm weird on video. I'm just weird in general. So that's how that works. Nobody? Unless people are typing, I'm assuming you can always jump in with a question later. Okay. All right. So, welcome to Humanities 1. Um, okay. Good deal. It's hard. Text is always difficult. It's the old question. Some people ask, why do I need to go to college if I can just read books? But if you don't understand something in a book, you're real only the only choice you really have is to just try to reread it until you get it, and maybe you'll understand it, and maybe you won't. If you've got a person there, you can talk to the person and ask them questions. And I've sometimes explained things. I well, I tell you what, when I was in grad school getting my PhD, um, and my wife was an undergrad at OU, she was having trouble with a concept in her logic class, and she was asking me about it. And I explained it one way and she didn't get it. And so I explained it a different way and she didn't get it. And I explained it a third way. And that way she got it. It was just a matter of finding the right way that made sense to her. And sometimes that's all it's about. So I try to make things as clear as I can in writing, but sometimes, people process things differently and they need to ask questions, and that's fine. Never be afraid to ask me a question. Never be afraid to come to me if you're having trouble. If you're like, hey, I'm overwhelmed, I can't do all the things I need to do in this class, tell me. I'm not here to make your life harder. Um, all right. So, okay, welcome to Humanities. So for a lot of you, this is a class that your advisor stuck you in. And I know you're just here because you were like, you grew up thinking, I can't wait until I can go to TCC and take Humanities 1. It's my lifelong dream. I mean, obviously, that's not the case. Um, Most of you are just here because it's just like your advisor said, you have to take Humanities 1. And you're like, oh, okay, I'll take Humanities 1 because I have to. I get that. Um, so I want to talk a little bit about what the Humanities is and what I hope for you to get out of it, what the goal is in this class. And especially in this class during the time of plague, that we're doing it a little bit differently. But anyway, so as I was saying earlier, the humanities are it's a broad term, an umbrella term for what you might call the humane studies, the anything that isn't the natural sciences. Or the social sciences, really, although it verges on that. Humanity, that's us. I am human. Hello, Earthlings. Oh, damn, I'm not supposed to say that. No, genuine human. Um, the humans, uh, we create stories, we create art, we create architecture, we create societies with politics and religions, and we ask questions about the universe, philosophy, um, all of the study of all of that stuff. The output of humanity is grouped together under the umbrella term the humanities. And the study of the humanities is the study of us. It is like holding up a mirror to us. It is a way of understanding who we are and what we're doing and why we're doing it. And I believe firmly that while the sciences are super useful and they can help us do cool stuff, like develop better Taco Bell sauces and go to the moon in order of importance. No, while they can do cool stuff like cure diseases or build bridges or figure out a way to make frozen food somewhat palatable, those are technical questions, and the study of the humanities are what the sciences are how we live, and the humanities are sort of what we live for, if you ask me. That may be an oversimplification. It almost certainly is, but I think there's some truth to that oversimplification. Um, I'm glad that I have the sciences to build me to build me a secure home and yeah, or stream the nostalgia. Yeah, exactly, exactly, exactly. And see, YouTube is a great example of this. Science gives us YouTube, right? Science gives us YouTube. It figured out how to make the internet and make streaming video and computers that can play it and all that stuff. But the humanities, the arts and literature and things like that, that's what fills it with content. That's the humanities are why there's anything worth streaming. Yeah, of course I know what nostalgia critic is. I'm hip. Oh no, I just blew it by saying hip. um, I'm not normal. You should know this by now. Um, Yeah. So anyway, I'm very, very. I broke Adriana. I'm sorry. Anyway, um, so that's what the humanities is. Um, thank you, Michaela, for the courtesy laugh. Um, that's what the humanities is. Now, in this class, and you're like, I don't care about that. I want to know what we're doing in this class. Um, I'm 46, so, and I'll be 47 in 6 days. It's a very good question, Sarah. For that, please go to my intro philosophy class. What is normal? Yeah. Um, but yeah, I'll be 47 in 6 days. So God bless you for saying I'm closer to the students. Maybe like in terms of maturity. Um, um, where was I? Oh, right, right. What we're going to do in this class specifically. Okay, so in Humanities 1, we have to cover everything from the beginnings of writing all the way up through the beginning of the Renaissance. So about 5000 BCE, which they used to just say BC, the 31st. My birthday is the 31st of this month, into January. Makes it easy to figure out how old I am. Birthdays in January are great for that. I recommend it to all of you. Um, oh, right. We have to cover from, oh, hey, yeah, another Aquarius. No wonder we're so weird. We have to cover from 5000 BCE to about 1500 CE, which used to just be AD. So we have to cover about 6,500 years of history, plus a little bit. Thank you, Michaela. Um, in 15 weeks. And we have to cover the art, music, literature, architecture, religion, philosophy, politics, etc., 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 of the world for 6,000 years and change in 15 weeks. We can't do it. It can't be done. There's literally no way to do that, which is a gift. It's not bad. Because if we can't do everything, if it's literally impossible to do everything, then we have free reign to pick and choose what we will do, which means that what I'm going to be focusing on is a subset of that world history, a small portion of it that tells a story through art and literature and philosophy and religion, blah 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 blah, that tells a bit of a story of how humanity has come to understand itself, or at least some portion of humanity has come to understand itself. Um, okay. And if that sounds like you're like, I still don't know what we're doing, that's fine. I get it. Um, so this is going to focus on quote unquote Western civilization. Start with Mesopotamia in what is now the Middle East, what is now modern day Iraq, and some areas there. It will move west towards Egypt and like what is now Palestine and Syria and places like that on the coast of the Mediterranean, and then to Greece, and then Italy, when we talk about the Roman Empire, and then kind of northwest into Europe and England. And that's as far as we're going to get. Um, and we're not going to talk a lot about Africa or India or China or the Americas for two reasons. And one reason that one thing that is not a reason is I don't want you to get the impression that nothing was going on. Lots of stuff was going on. Interesting things were happening. But I'm not an expert on those areas. I'm just not. They hired me. They told me I'm teaching humanities, and I was like, I would love to know more about this stuff. And I'm learning. I'm trying to learn. I'm educating myself on this. I hope in the future to be able to incorporate this stuff into my classes. I bought books. I'm reading as much as I can. I'm watching YouTube videos. I'm trying. I'm getting there. Um, but so there are plenty of people, and we have good classes on these subjects. So please take them if you're interested. And if you do have the textbook, the physical textbook, there are things you can read. Although the textbook is terribly dry and unpleasant to read, I'm very sorry. It just is. I didn't write it. I didn't choose it. If I had, I would have chosen differently. Um, uh, Right. Oh yeah. There's plenty of stuff going on. I'm not going to talk about it because I don't know as much about that stuff, and also because I can't cover everything. I have a narrative that runs through here, and I can't cover everything. So, um, I tried not to make any of the quiz questions about names or dates. Um, even and certainly if I'm doing in-person tests, I don't do names and dates. When is my favorite period in history? That's so hard, right? What a hard question. They're so good. I like the Renaissance a lot. I like the Renaissance, but I also like right now. I'll be honest. I like the Renaissance, and I like right now. Right now is a wonderful time. Um, Anna Akana. I don't know if you know her. She's a YouTuber. Anna Akana, AKANA is her last name. Anna AKANA. Anna Akana has a wonderful little video where she talks about the fact that traveling back in time is really a super white male thing because she's like, for anyone who isn't white and male, like literally this is the best time to be alive, and any time before this would really suck in ways. Anyway, Brooke, great question. How many questions are in the quiz? Each quiz is 5 questions, if I recall correctly, or 4. It's been a while since I made them. Um, but oh, by the way, on the quizzes, um, this will actually thank you, Brooke, because this is a nice segue into something I was going to say. I'm here to help you learn. I don't care when you learn this, as long as you learn it. This is not a gotcha class. The quizzes should be set up to allow unlimited attempts, and the written essay assignments are set up the same way. If I give you back a grade on an essay assignment that is not a passing grade, feel free to take my feedback and resubmit. I don't care when you learn the material. I've never understood that. Like, people are like, well, you didn't know this material at 3 weeks into the class, so I will never give you the chance to learn it again. Or, that's weird to me. Learn the material when you get to it. If you get a bad grade on a quiz, read the chapter again and take it again. I'm fine with that. I just want you to learn. I just want you to learn and process on your own time. So ultimately, the goal here is for you to understand. I'm far less concerned about facts than I am about understanding. In the essays, especially, the questions I ask in the essays, I ask you to explain things back to me. Not so that you can list a bunch of facts that you've memorized, but so that you can show me you understand what the significance of these things are and how it all fits together in terms of history and sort of why this stuff happens the way it happens. Um, quiz. Oh, they have 10 questions? Wow, I was hardcore. Okay. Past me was a jerk. Um, Good call, Sarah. Anyway, fellow Aquarius coming through in the clutch. All right. Coming through in the clutch, not something Aquariuses are known for doing. Anyway, so that's the goal, is to sort of help you understand as best you can this kind of material. The reading quizzes, Riley, I mean, you can take them. So this is also a good question and something I would normally address in the first in the first session. If we were in person, I talk a lot about how to interact with the class and the class materials. Um, Everybody learns a different way, and probably the most important thing you can learn in college is how you learn. Now, there's also a matter of how you need to be able to learn. I don't want to go too far into the direction of, oh, everyone has their unique learning style and we must cater to that. Because some things, it's like, you know what? It's like if you want to learn to play basketball, you're gonna have to shoot some balls at the hoop. You're going to have to shoot some baskets. You're going to have to take some shots. You're going to have to practice. There's no way around it. There's no other learning style you can do. You have to get the physical memory into your muscles to learn to play basketball. And there's some stuff when you're studying the humanities, reading and writing are crucial. They just are. Learning to read carefully and critically and to write about what you've learned, that's indispensable ultimately. I would recommend taking notes on the lectures and the readings, but you don't have to. Um, if the way that works best for you in terms of processing material is to read the chapter, take the quiz, get feedback via your grade on how well you understood it, and then if you didn't understand it sufficiently, read the chapter again, take the quiz again, rinse, repeat until you feel that you've really got it in your brain. If that works for you, instead of taking notes, do that. If watching the lectures repeatedly, although I can't imagine anyone would want to subject themselves to watching me repeatedly over and over and over again, um, I was going to say, even I get tired of my own voice, but that's a lie. I never get tired of hearing myself talk. Never. Um, That's obvious, really, if you know me at all. Um, Also Aquarius. Anyway, but no, find a style that works for you is all I can say. I'm a terrible example when it comes to that. In grad school, I did not take notes. I just drew spaceships in my notebook. But that helped, like fidgeting with something kept my mind focused so like I could pay attention to what was going on in the lecture and the discussion. Um, So yeah, I mean that works for some people. I knew other people that wrote down literally every word the professor said. So anyway, um, whatever works for you. Okay, so the humanities is about understanding, not about facts. That is the major way in which we differ from a history class. Now, some of my colleagues in history will take offense to that and they'll say, we want you to understand also. But then they will give you tests that ask you to name a bunch of shit and fill in dates. And I'm like, bullshit. So, haha. Anyway, okay. Any questions on what we're doing here and how we're doing it before we go on? No? I'm sure questions will come up later. Okay. So let's talk a little bit about prehistory. And in a way, that's a stupid phrase. Prehistory. Isn't history everything that happened before now? What's prehistory? That's stupid. All right. When we talk about prehistory, what we're doing is we are dividing the stuff before now into two categories. stuff before now with writing, like after humans had discovered how to write. Yes, we mean the Flintstones. Yes, yes, in a way we do. They're the modern Stone Age family. Flintstones. Meet the Flintstones. All right. Um, that got weird. Sorry. Um, where was I? Oh, right, right. We're dividing it into stuff that happened before now, when people wrote things down, and stuff that happened before now, before people wrote things down. Now, prehistory, you would think would be very mysterious to us, and it is, but we can still learn a lot about it. Archaeologists and anthropologists contributed to our understanding of people before they wrote anything down, both by studying their remains and the places where they lived and the tools that they created. In other words, what we call their material culture. Um, and also by comparing those things to some people who are still alive today who live in a similar state of development. There are not many people who live in kind of a Stone Age period of development, but there are some still on Earth today. We have streaming internet, and there are people that are still using stone tools in certain remote parts of the world. That's bonkers. Um, but yet, there it is. Um, and we compare our estimations of what the people whose remains we have, the things they left behind, we compare how those remains to people who have similar tools, and we kind of make some guesses about their lifestyle. So we can know certain things about prehistory. Now, prehistory stretches back pretty far. If we go back to the earliest hominids that branched off from the apes, from gorillas and chimpanzees, we go back to like Australopithecus about 6 million years ago, which is nuts. And Australopithecus would have looked a lot more like a gorilla or a chimp than one of us. But through the various stages of development, um, Homo habilis and Homo erectus, and all those other stages of development, all hominids who walked at least partially upright and who had more developed brains and who made noises and maybe used language. We eventually get to Homo sapiens. That's us. Um, wise man. Homo, genus homo, Latin for man, sapiens, wise. How wise we are, I don't really know, but um, figure a million and a half, 2 million years ago, we're getting into this phase. Um, well, actually, Homo sapiens about 200,000 years ago. A million and a half, 2 million years ago, we're getting people that look pretty close to humanoid. Anyway, 200,000 years ago, we're getting Homo sapiens. Neanderthals still exist. Um, there is Neanderthal DNA present in almost all humans, I think. Some of us have more than others, but it's a sign that Neanderthals and Homo sapiens interbreeded at some point. 200,000 years ago, Homo sapiens begins to develop. And then back then, we were hunter gatherers. Um, to be a hunter gatherer means that we lived in very small groups. A band of Homo sapiens might be about as many people are in the class, maybe, 20, 30 people. Uh, we lived in very small groups and we roamed around, and our lives were pretty much spent looking for food. That was the primary thing we did. We hunted and we gathered. We gathered by going around to various places where we knew that food might be growing. We hunted mostly by hunting small game. Large game hunting comes very late in the hunter gatherer period. Um, as we used our tool making ability and our teamwork abilities to figure out how to coordinate and take down very large creatures. But that's, like I said, very late in the development. But even the hunter gatherer humans. Now, let me stop. Hunter gatherer humans, uh, um, they didn't do much else. I mean, think about it. I'm sure when we were on campus, most of you, and when you were in high school, certainly, most of you carrying around backpacks, right, or some kind of bag. Um, Feel free to like jump in and say yes and stuff when I ask these questions. You don't have to, but I'm used to lecturing to a classroom and people nod. They're like, and it just it makes me feel good to have the feedback. But anyway, I'm sure you carry around a backpack or something with you all day. Not all of you, but some of you. And carrying around that backpack is a pain in the ass. Thank you, Haley. Thank you from the bottom of my heart. It's a pain. Um, But if you were a hunter gatherer, you were on the move. You had to be on the move because the food wasn't where you were. The food was never where you were. If you found a place where there was food reliably, you'd stay there for a little while until there wasn't any. And then you move on. It's like if you have no food in your house, but uh, the food in the various quick trips is free for the taking. And so people, this is going to get weird. So people move around. They leave their house and they go to the quick trip and they congregate there and they eat all the food. And when the food in that quick trip is gone, they pick up and they move on to the next quick trip. So I'm sure someday in the future you'll be in another class, like when you transfer on to a 4-year university, you'll be in the class and they'll go, "Does anyone know anything about the hunter gatherer period?" And you'll be like, "Yes, we went to quick trip." And they'll be like, "What moron taught your class?" And you'll say, "It was Dr. Schertz." And I deserve it, but we're using that stupid analogy. But you get it, don't you? um, you couldn't sustain a whole lot of people this way. Population density was very low, about one person per square mile in temperate conditions. The quick trip gatherers, yes. That's going to be our new sports team, the quick trip gatherers. Um, our softball league. Um, I told you it was going to get weird. Um, this is what's called carrying capacity. In anthropology, carrying capacity describes the capacity of a given terrain and climate to sustain a population with a given mode of subsistence. And under hunting and gathering, the carrying capacity of uh, uh, a temperate climate zone like this one is about one person per square mile. That means that as far as hunter gatherer bands go, we would need an area that's like as big as this county probably for just this class. Yeah, they use their Ubers. Um, Man, I'm sure they would have loved to have an Uber. Anyway, so we would need a huge area to wander around in just to sustain this class. Now, that means you have to constantly be moving. Now, what's the one main thing you can't do if you're constantly moving? Accumulate stuff, right? What do you own? Literally what you're carrying. What does everyone else own? Literally what they're carrying. It's not, I don't have a house because I don't have a house, man. We don't have houses. We're on the move. We'd never be there anyway. Like New Yorkers in their apartments. No, anyway. But yeah, we don't have a house. We have what we own, or what we can carry. We own what we can carry. Now, what does that mean in terms of society? Well, one thing it means uber mammoths. um, One thing it means is that there's no rich and poor. And this is something we've observed in the people who still exist today who live as hunter gatherers. There's no such thing as rich and poor. People literally only own what they can carry. So it's not like there's someone who has more influence over someone else. The other thing is there's no such thing as specialization of skills. At a party, you don't go, oh, what do you do? Because the other person's going to go, I'm a hunter gatherer, just like you, Bill. Oh, that's right. Yeah, we're both hunter gatherers. We're all hunter gatherers. Um, because that's literally all you do. You don't have, everyone has to pull their own weight in hunting and gathering, because you're all just scraping by. You're getting just barely enough calories to sustain life. When you reach that nice caloric balance point, not that they're counting exact calories, but you get a sense of these things when it's all you do. When you reach that nice caloric balance point and you've had enough to eat, you stop moving for the day. And you, I don't know, you lie on your back, or you tell stories around the campfire, or make music, you sing. I'll get to that in a second. There was no specialization of skills. There was no one who was a doctor or a soldier or anything like that, because everyone just hunts and gathers. You can only get, think about this for a minute and it'll blow your mind. But the only reason that someone can devote their full time to doing something like computer programming or being a doctor or making YouTube videos or whatever is because they aren't having to provide food for themselves. If I had to grow and slaughter my own food, I would not have time to be educating myself on the history of Africa and history of China. I would not have time to make YouTube videos. I would not have time to do the other stuff. I would be spending all my time feeding myself. Um, we can only specialize in certain things because other people are feeding us. And in hunter gatherer society, that's not happening. Um, so it takes all of the people all of the time to feed themselves. Now, that said, both from the material culture that extinct hunter-gatherer societies that died out thousands of years ago left behind, and also from the hunter-gatherers who still exist today, we know that hunter-gatherers had a society. They had a culture that they practiced. Um, there is you can look it up on YouTube. I usually play this in class. There are videos of something called the Hohlefels flute. I'm going to type it into the chat so people can see that. I just realized I could do that. Hohlefels flute. You can look that up. Hohlefels, by the way, is an archaeological site in Germany. It's a cave, and it proves that the Germans are terrible at naming things, because in German it just means rock hole. A cave called Rock Hole. Very good, Germans. Very well done. Anyway, the Hohlefels flute. 40,000 years ago, some hunter gatherer took a piece of bone, hollow bone, maybe from a bird, and carved it and carved holes in it and polished it and carved a mouthpiece to make a flute. It was very obviously a flute. These holes were not accidental. It was discarded or left or lost in the Hohlefels cave, where it fossilized. And 40,000 years later, scientists scanned it using super duper science technology that I don't fully understand, and 3D printed a replica. And if you do a YouTube video search, you can find videos where they took that flute to Hohlefels Cave, where we know for a fact it was 40,000 years ago, and they played it. So we can hear what it would have sounded like for these hunter gatherers People like us, not cavemen, not Neanderthals, not Homo habilis, but Homo sapiens, humans like us. What were they doing in that cave? Taking shelter from bad weather? Probably, maybe. Maybe they just wanted to get out of the sun. Maybe they said, hey, Og, you've got that thing that you made. Entertain us. And Og pulls out his flute and plays a little bit of music. They were humans. They had an urge to express themselves. They had an urge to entertain themselves. They got bored like we did. They painted in caves that we've seen. What's happening? Oh, okay, I was frozen. We've seen their cave paintings. And anthropologists used to concoct all of these crazy stories of what they meant. They're like, oh, they're part of a religious ritual. And now a lot of them are starting to think, they just like to decorate the caves. Because we're humans and we do that. We doodle on things. We graffiti tag walls and train cars. Why? Just to say, hey, I was here. You can see in some of the cave art that they would make little pigments. They would grind stone and shells and other colored things down into a fine powder that could be used as a pigment, as a kind of paint, mixing it with other substances. And they would place it in a little tube made of wood or of bone or even leather. And they would put their hands, we've seen this in numerous caves, put their hands on the cave wall and blow the pigment out so that it creates a negative space imprint of their hands. Ye old interior decorating, yeah. 40,000 years old or more in some cases. They would literally just leave a print of their hands and we can still find them. 40,000 years old humans waving to us from prehistory. We know from finding fossilized skeletons of hunter-gatherers who clearly could not have walked very far due to injury or disease, who clearly could not have supported themselves, that humans were cooperative, that they were sentimental. They took care of their sick and their weak as best they could, even though they would have been living right on the edge themselves. They had dreams and ideas. They no doubt told stories. They no doubt made music and art. They were us. These artifacts of their culture are proof that people are people. No matter how far back you go, we're just people. We're the same. But we still classify that as prehistory because without writing, there's almost no way we can get inside of their heads. At best, we can speculate as to what they were really like. Art, pictures, the existence of flukes, that can only tell us so much. They can't tell their stories. Around 10,000 years ago, right at the end of the Neolithic or New Stone Age period, in what we would now call Palestine, there was a people that archaeologists call the Natufian people. We don't know what they called themselves because this was right at the end of the Stone Age period and the beginning of agriculture. I'll talk about that on Wednesday, next class. And they lived communally and they had agriculture rather than hunting and gathering. So they had houses and they had stuff. And they made art and they flourished for about 1,000 years. And then they died out. And their culture shows that they were organized, that they had skills like artistic skills that developed over this 1,000 year period, that they had trade networks, because some of the shells that they used in their art did not come from their region, came from hundreds and hundreds of miles away, on the shores of the Red Sea, um, and even the Persian Gulf. They had um, they had religion, probably, because at the beginning of the period, they buried their dead just under the earth, like just shallow under the earth, and that was that. They just chucked them under the earth, and they're gone. And over the course of their development, they started burying their dead deeper, but they also buried them with valuable items, tools, and weapons and jewelry. And why would they do that? Why would they sacrifice valuable things, valuable man hours and materials went into making those? And they just put them in the ground. Why would they do that? Except that they had beliefs about what happened to that person after they die, and why they might need that stuff, or why that stuff should go into the grave. And what keeps me awake at night sometimes, and I'm not joking, I literally lie awake thinking about this, is that we will never, ever, 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 ever know what those beliefs were, because the Natufian people did not have writing. They're gone. We've learned as much as we can about them, and they're gone. And they wrote nothing down, and we will never know what they thought happened. We will never know why they changed the way they buried their dead and why they put those tools in there. We can guess, but we can never know. Prehistory is fascinating, but it is also here there be dragons. It is terra incognita. It is a portion of the map that we can of history that we can never really fully fill in. And so our course in the humanities begins with the development of writing about 5,000 years ago, about 3,000 BCE, 3,500, depending on where you are. And think of that, 2 million years, hominids, 200,000 years, humans, 10,000 years, agriculture, the transition from hunting and gathering to agriculture, 5,000 years, writing. Such a small fragment of the big picture. That's all we can really see clearly. We can study the rest as best we can, but that's just this tiny little fragment, this relatively small window of time. That's all we can really get. Uh, uh, that's all we can really get a clear picture of. So that's what we're going to be studying, that period, this last 5,000 years or so. I hope you understand a little bit more about prehistory and why we divide it into prehistory and history. History is literally just since we've been talking about ourselves, and humans love to talk about themselves. We won't shut up about it. And we're going to chart what happens after that by looking at the things people said and did about themselves. Any questions you want to ask? Okay. Look up the Holofels flute. It's not exactly a top 40 pop hit. You won't hear Ariana Grande covering it. Is she still relevant? I'm so out of touch. Who's it now? Cardi B? I don't really know any of Cardi B's music. I have listened to some Billie Eilish though. Not at the time. Well, hell. I'm losing touch. No shocker. Yeah, I have listened to some Billie Eilish, and I'm not sure I get it, but why not, right? Um, enjoy. Um, I don't have any. Thank you. Okay. No, I don't have any due dates. The hard due date is the picture looks like a twig with some holes. Yeah, it does. Uh, I saw about that, all the memes. Um, yeah, I don't really have any due dates. The hard due date is May the 16th because that's a Friday, and I have to have all my grading done by the following Monday. So please do me a favor and try to get stuff in before that, if you don't hate me. But there are no hard due dates. Work at your own pace as best you can, and we will be back on Wednesday at 1 to talk about cradles of civilization and early Mesopotamian civilization. And you'll get to hear me make stupid jokes and all of that. Okay. I hope you all had fun. I hope it was wonderful. I'll try to get a better camera. Okay. If no one has any questions, then I'm going to say goodbye. And the cat is going to, this little monster is going to say goodbye. And yeah. All right. Bye. The other three cats do actually. No, I mean, that's a good question for you, Lee. Do I want the essays in a certain format? No. If you're going to quote something, um, like cite it in some fashion, I don't really care. Just make it readable. I'm very lax about things like that. So yeah, thank you. Bye. Thank you for being here. Thank you for commenting. It was a lot of fun and very interactive. I'm ending the stream now in 3, 2, 1. Bye.